So if you had 1, 2, 3 wishes for your budget 2026 and for the finance minister, what would that be? And I will take it across the room. So, yeah.
Well, I'm going to digress from being the CEO of View Televisions to being a woman entrepreneur. I think it's a historical time that we have for so many years a woman finance minister. And, as you know, it's very hard for women to get venture capital funding. It's very hard for women also to get bank loans. I own 100% of my company for that reason. So we do require, the Economic Times, for example, has always pushed the agenda of women being business owners, women being entrepreneurs, professionals. So one thing that I just love to leave in the mind of the finance minister, that, today, what can you do for Indian women if they own or run a business? Are there any tax incentives? Is there some kind of, confidence that you can build with the investors? How will we bring in more capex to the country? So I think I would really hope that she looks into this subject and leaves it as her legacy as the first finance minister of the country who's a woman.
Right. Let's see.
Yeah. So a lot has happened, a budget this time is a key point for us to understand the policy level and directional view of how we can bring in more foreign direct investment into the country and to signal to international investors that we're actually open for business. So I'm looking forward to that part on anyway, very excitedly.
Mr. Mani? I think there is a need for 2 specific initiatives from the government. One is on customs, because for a very long time, the Customs Act has not been significantly overhauled. So the manner in which the GST legislation was overhauled within 7-8 years of introduction, there is now a need to overhaul the entire customs, legislation, not only in respect of tariff and slabs, in terms of the process procedures also. Whether it is related party transactions, whether it is a special valuation branch, there are a lot of provisions in the customs law which need to be changed, which will, in addition to making it easier for importers and exporters, also improve ranking in terms of ease of doing business. The second aspect is, having done the GST rationalization, this is not the time where we sit back, relax and say GST is done. Let's focus on GST 3.0, which will involve getting petroleum products also under GST, which will involve getting the entire real estate sector under GST. There is a lot to be done on GST. It is perfectly fine to take a pause for maybe 6 months. But if an announcement that the government is in future going to consider a GST 3.0 would be very, very welcome in the union budget, because union budget does not do anything specific to GST. That's the remit of the GST Council. But directionally, in every year, we have been seeing some announcements on GST. So if there is an announcement of entire customs overhaul, and if there is an announcement which says we are looking at GST 3.0 in future to be done, that would be great. Right. Just to add to that question, there is a lot of talk about, certainty when it comes to customs and tariffs. We see industries like rice sector, sugar, even steel, different parts of steel, different tariffs, different duties at different times. What do you make of that? See, some of the tariffs and some of the changes that they make, including imposing additional duties on certain countries and certain products, etc., are driven by the global trade movements. So at certain points of time, it is also essential to protect domestic industry. There are certain segments in the domestic industry which require protection, and every country, it's not only Bharat that does that, every country has its own way of protecting domestic, businesses. So certain sectors, certain situations require that kind of protectionism. But what we have seen is, once that is done, typically it takes a long time to get changed. So when the underlying circumstances change, the tariffs also need to change together with those circumstances.
Right.
Sure. Now, I'll get back to the first thing we talked about, which is, I think, fundamentally, not just for processed foods, but for the overall consumer sector, policies that fundamentally help drive consumption and demand. Because ultimately, that's what's going to lead to sustainable growth and investment. And that's a combination of many things. How do you bring about predictability? How do you bring about incentivize affordability, work on accessibility through last mile infrastructure? But I think that has to be a big focus area, because otherwise capital for its own sake is never going to be sustainable. It's ultimately when that underlying demand is unlocked through incentivizing innovation, affordability, building the infrastructure. I think that should be a big focus area.
Right. Mr. I would like you have the
Well, I would think of three key areas. Number one, show what execution has been happening, because I think every budget, the outlays are there, huge outlays on different sectors. Maybe the demonstration that we are on track for the 5 trillion going up to the 10 trillion economy. So we have executed what we have planned. I think that gives a huge confidence on the overall economic setup, because budget is also a statement of account. So you can show the execution that has happened. Second, I would say consistency. So demonstration of a consistent policy making towards reforms, towards showing that some of the topics like decarbonization, etc., are still on the agenda. So showing a consistency that gives a lot of confidence for everyone. And last not the least, simplify, simplify, simplify. Be it customs, be it any policies. I think we have we all love it. I think the GST 2.0 this government demonstrated. They have ears to the ground. They reacted thrice last year, or two by the government, one by the RBI. I would say in income tax rates, GST, RBI was proactive with interest rate cuts. This just gives confidence that they have ear to the ground if they are able to continue that momentum. And I'm sure it would be there with simplification. I think we are on track for that 5 trillion dream as a next step.